Well, hello there, and today we're going to be looking at on Teslatronixlab this Samsung TV here. This is a 46-inch, the model number. On TVs, the first two digits you come across on any model number actually tells the size of the TV. So this is a un46, which means it's a 46-inch TV. It is a Samsung. I really like the red hue that it has on this glass. That's why I'm kind of attached to this TV. I really like it. This TV does have a slight problem, although it works and it is tolerable somewhat. We're going to fix it. So have a seat, grab you a nice hot cup of coffee, and enjoy the video. So let's have a look at exactly what this TV is doing. Like I said, it will power on. It will give us an image. You can actually watch something on it. But as you'll be able to tell here in just a minute, what it's actually doing. You can also tell that there is because it's a divot in a polarized screen, that's not fixable. However, it's right here, if you can see it. As you're watching it, you really don't even notice it after a while. But if you will look up here, you will see a dark spot right there. And that is what we're going to be tackling, is that dark spot. It's probably going to be an LED that's burnt out. Definitely got to be an LED, maybe multiple. So what we're going to do is take this TV apart and we're going to check it out. And also, if you guys are probably wondering what's on the DVD, it is a parody of Star Trek called Lower Decks, and it is from the makers of Rick and Morty. If you're a fan of Rick and Morty, this is their take on Star Trek. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and power it down, and we're going to go ahead and get it taken apart and see what we can do about fixing this thing. So right now, what we're going to do is we'll show you what we need to do to get it apart back here and get that going for you. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is remove all of the screws down here. This is for the base. You'll want to do that first, and then all of these outer screws here, around here, you'll have one there, you'll have a few here, but for the most part it's around the perimeter of the chassis. So we're not going to bore you with watching me screw, so actually watching me unscrew, I guess, huh? So now what we got to do is very carefully flip this over. Very carefully do this. Flip this over. Set it up. I have to very carefully flip it over because we're going to want to take and remove this from the frame. And it's just on with clips, so you just got to kind of very carefully. It's easier if you lay it down to be able to do this. Make sure that you don't allow it to put pressure on the boards, so I'm kind of bracing it up here at the top. And it's on just ever so slightly with clips, guys. I've already got the bottom part up. And just pops right off just like that. So you do have a membrane here. Here, let's take this off. And the speaker came out, of course, but let's take this off. You do have a membrane here that goes to It goes up here to the main board, but it goes to the the power button, all the controls is on the front panel as a membrane. And I know that you've seen TVs like that before. So let's go ahead and get this unplugged from the main board. It's right here from the main board. Just kind of move it back, get it out from under the tape. And then we'll just set it aside. This will be able to allow us to take off it's routed over this speaker. So we'll get that out the way. Now we should be able to remove this outer cover now. There we go, just like that. So, and it just pops right off, and you can see the controls, membrane controls right here. You'll see that, just like that. And we'll get it set out the way. I'm really loving the red hue this has. So, we'll get this out the way. We are pretty nice and stable on the table here. Get the speakers. Actually, we could probably just remove those out of the way. Those would be easier. Get those up. They just pop off just like that. And here's the speakers. Just like that. They just pop off just like that. Now I'm going to lay this down ever so gently, just like that. Because now we got to remove the screws here. You'll see on the outer edges you got some tiny screws. Make sure you do that manually, guys. So you're going to want to get a small screwdriver and do that manually. The LCD screen is very, very fragile, so especially while tightening it back up when you're reassembling everything, you're going to want to do it manually, especially when you go to reassemble. They're precision type screws almost. I mean, they're so tiny. They're so tiny. I'm literally using a precision screwdriver on it. And if you are wondering, by the way, no, it's not resting on the boards. The boards are under there, yes, but it's literally resting on the chassis. It's not resting on the electrical boards themselves. I know a lot of people are saying, oh my goodness, but no. And probably would have been better to put like blocks of foam under it, just to assure that there's no pressure being on the boards, but there's not. So let's get these screws all out, move on to the next step. Now once you get all of those screws out, because it's such a mess and so tiny screws and everything, take your drink of coffee and continue. That's how it works. So now very carefully remove the aluminum metal frame. Just like that. You'll remove that frame, and then you'll have the LCD panel here. Now, this is the very, very, very fragile part, is removing the panel. This is always the scary part, guys, because if you break this panel, it's all over. Literally, it is all over. So, lift this up. I did put some styrofoam blocks under it, like I had suggested. Oh, you can see all of the dust and debris falling from it. So, we're going to have to remove this metal piece back here so that we can remove the buffer boards on top here. The buffer boards that these ribbon cables go to. We're going to have to remove that in order to continue. So at this point, you do not want to lay it on its face again, because all you're going to do is crack the panel, and that's something you don't want to do. So first of all, we need to remove the cover for the T-con board. Let's do that real quick. We'll set this down, we'll lift this up. This is where it comes in handy if you have a helper, guys. Literally. I could have left the metal frame on and then I could put it on its face, but I didn't, so. All right, let's get this T-con board shield off real quick like. And it's gonna be 4 screws on that little guy. Literally, you got to take that off in order to take the small metal covers off for the buffer boards. So here you go. This is what you had to remove, and it covers the T-con board. So now that that's out the way, let's get this out the way. Now we've got so tiny screws, so we need our precision screwdriver again. So let's lay this down real quick. Grab that. The screws go out the way. Set this back up. Just like that, guys. Let's get this undone. Okay, so I have put the metal frame back around the front of the LCD panel. I did that so I could lay it on its face. So I can show you guys exactly what we're doing here. Here's the T-con board. So here's the ribbons that go to it. Now what you want to do is go ahead and you'll flip this little lever, this little brown, you'll see a brown part right here. You go ahead and you'll flip that out. So you flip it up like that, you flip that one up like that. These go to the buffer boards, by the way, guys. So you flip those both up, and then you'll simply just pull the ribbon cables out, just like that. Just like that. Then you can, after all, I mean, you know, all the screws are removed from these. This is the metal piece I was telling you about that the buffer boards are on. You'll simply come up just like that and remove it out of the way. And we'll move that out the way. These are the buffer boards here that goes to the panel. See, now that we've got it removed, we can go ahead and remove this panel now. So you want to be careful when removing these buffer boards. So you want to be careful not, because these are just put on with adhesive. You want to be careful not to rip or knock loose these ribbon cables here, because literally that's just put on with adhesive. So now let's go ahead and get this put back up very carefully. Pick it back up. And what we're doing is we want to remove this. Go ahead and remove this out the way now. This is the hard part, guys, because literally removing this panel, like I said, if you crack it, you're done. Literally, you're done with this project. You can't replace panels. They cost more than the TV themselves if you buy one, if you can even get them. So you'll see the buffer boards right here. So lay the spec down again on its back. This becomes the hard part right here. You want to very carefully lay it back down. All right. This is where you pick the panel up and remove it. It is really stuck in there. Looks like they have it on. Oh, they have it on with, okay. There's clips on these plastic holders, guys. This is a delicate, this is like a brain surgery, guys. This is like really delicate. These little plastic parts have clips. There we go. Here's the panel, guys. All right, we got the panel up, so we'll take it. And take it out and set it aside. This will break really easy, guys, so you got to be really careful with it. Set it over here. These are the polarization sheets. And these still have tape around these. It's very important that these are put back in order when you reassemble everything. So we're just going to remove it. Keep it stacked the way it is. This is the polarization sheet. The light diffusers, I'm sorry. Light diffusers, get it right. If I'm going to do a tutorial, I need to name all the parts right, don't I? These are the light diffusion sheets. Now, when you get to this point, you're literally going to lift this up. So where we had our problem was here at the top. So we're gonna go ahead and lift all this out. Screen out of the way. Now what you can literally, guys, now what we can do is, let's get this turned around first of all. This was technically the bottom. Now you'll see that literally it's just one big LED strip. Well, can power it up, and then we would have to hook this back up in order to power it up. So we could do that. Hook this back into the main board. Let's get it hooked up right. Okay. Okay. Let's power it on. See what we got. You see the LED strips here? See where the power button is right here? There we go. And you'll see it light up. Actually, guys, we've got a big bank of them that are bad. Look at this. On this strip. All of these right here are out. See if I can get this where you guys can see it really good. See, this whole bank is out. So it's a lot worse than I thought. So yep. So let's see if we can mark these exactly where they're out at. And it looks like it separates right there. So it looks like half of this strip is out. It's right here. From here to here is burnt out now. Oh boy. So honestly, I think it would be, you know, I was thinking I was going to show you guys how to replace these individually, but that's a lot. I think it'd actually be cheaper just to buy this strip, LED strip here. So you know what? You can see now how bad it's burnt out. All right, well, let's turn it off. Unplug it and yeah, so we're going to have this project here for a bit. Now we're going to see which is feasible, buying each individual, you know, replacing each individual LED or buying that strip. Okay, so now we got it. The LEDs have been installed, guys. And what we're going to do is we'll turn it on. Give it just a minute here to power up. And there we go. Now let's get it on up. Because it's not assembled, it's kind of, you know, you seen it flicker a minute ago, that's because of a ground. It's got to get it assembled, but you can see that it has all of the LEDs lit up. So you can see a little bit better right there like that. You can see they're all lit up. So now we got it. Now what we got to do is get it assembled all together. And so that's what we're going to work on now, is assembling it. So now we basically got to the point where we just reverse everything we did to take this apart. So what we got to do is put the polarized sheets and the polarized glass back down. Polarization, the diffusion glass, I'm sorry. See? Put the diffusers and the diffusion glass back down in the order that we removed it. And then we'll put the LCD panel, reinstall that, hook the buffer boards back up to the T-Con board, put the metal frame back around it, go ahead and put the frame that has the control buttons and everything back over it. We're not going to reinstall the base this time, guys, because I plan on hanging it up. So I'm going to keep the base, of course, but we're not going to reinstall that. So we're going to skip that step. So we're not going to film or show you, well, we'll probably film it, but we're not going to show you the entire process of reassembling it, because basically it literally is just reverse of what we've already filmed. So we'll just show you little shots as it progresses until we get it together, and then we will film the test run to make sure that everything is working properly. Okay, so let's get started here. We can see from this felt that's a thermal insulator, is what it is, sort of, but we can tell by it that it's going to be the first one down right there by the LEDs. Thinking that it goes this way. Okay, so there's 3 of these. I'm gonna assume this one goes. Yeah, you can. So make sure these little ears go in the proper socket like they're supposed to. Okie dokie. We got the last string, the very last one. The panel, guys, the LCD panel here is very, very, very fragile. So it's got to be. Okay. We just got to get the screws in it. Here's the thing about these LCD panel, guys. They're so thin, and so you probably noticed me unscrewing it with my well, I call it the zipper, with this, my Amazon special tool, even though it's precision. You do not want to use anything like that when you assemble the frame around. Now taking it apart, fine. Assembling it, no. You don't want to assemble it. You want to do it manually. Manually, guys. Let me find a smaller screwdriver. Now the reason for that is because if you over torque it just a hair, you're done. You're going to crack that LCD panel. You crack that panel and it's history, guys. There's no replacing it. You're done. You're done. Might as well just pack up your toys and go home. I've cracked a panel or two by over tightening it very slightly because I was using this. And just one little turn too much and cracked the whole panel. Cracked all the way up. So after buying a couple of TVs for your customers, guys, you get to where you learn it's better just to do stuff manually sometimes. It really is. Just do it manually. Okay, guys, now we are to the point where we have the metal frame all put on. We have this metal frame put on around. Now we're to the point where we want to hook up the T-con board back to the buffer boards for the LCD panel. Now, we'll do that, and then we'll have to, you'll see that it takes little screws to screw it down. So, go ahead and do that. So, now we'll hook up the T-con board to the buffer board. This is real, you gotta do it really. Kind of hard to do while you're holding the camera, so let me see if I can set it up here and zoom in for you. That'll give you kind of an idea what we're doing here. I'll try not to be in your way while I do this. But it's pretty self-explanatory. You just make sure on the buffer board. You lift up this and then you just kind of plug it in. There we go. And once it's plugged in, you push the brown thing down, just like that. It's that easy. Let's try this side. Lift it up. Okay, it's already up. Put it in. Oops, it fell. Okay. Lift it up, put it in. If we get any, okay, there we go. And if you get any abnormal picture or abnormalities in your picture, it's because the cable is not seated well, not seated properly. That one's seated good. Just double check this one. Yeah. Okay, that ought to do it right there. Now we'll get this metal piece that goes across there back on. Yeah. Here we go with the speakers. Let me scroll out. And we just got to put the speakers on, put the metal shield over this, and put the metal shield down on that end. Go with the frame that has our control membrane on it, control panel membrane. And then here's the other metal shield right here for the TCON board. This is heavy, guys. It's heavier than it looks. So let's get the rest of this done and then we'll be ready to power it up. Okay, so we're putting the back on. We got all the, okay, so am I really gonna have to undo this, guys? I already filmed this. All right. Can't believe I did this. All right, let me reshoot this scene. Even though I already did it once, do it for you guys. See what I do for you guys? I shot this scene already, but we're gonna do it again. All right, so we've got everything already remounted. We got the speakers back on. We've got the shield for the TCON board. We've got everything plugged back in. So now we're gonna put the metal back on. And then we'll be ready to power it up and make sure that it's all working. So here we go, guys. All right. So we'll just get it all screwed back together, get everything lined up. There we go. I always like to work on opposite sides, kind of like a putting a spare tire on and everything, you know. But I'm sure you guys don't want to sit here and watch me screw. So after I'm done screwing, I'll be right back. Now we got it. I didn't put all the screws in yet because I want to power it up and see how this thing is looking. Really nervous about this part because, like I said, the LCD panel was laying out for several weeks here in the lab while I waited for that part to come in. The part did come out of China, so that should tell you everything, right? Oh boy, this is the most nerve-wracking part right here. So let's get this TV standing up where you can see. Now, hopefully, we'll power it up. Here, I'll lay it on his back. This is the, where y'all can see, try to get here where y'all can see it. Okay. Here we go, guys. Alrighty. Let's give it an input. See what we got. Where is HDM3 at? Right there it is. All right, let's turn the DVD on. There we go, guys. All right, let's give it some audio. The volume is turned all the way down, guys. Where is the volume button? Here we go.
To me for help. She is who I think she is.
There we go.
She's in serious danger.
Experience Star Trek Picard.
I have a plan.
Another top secret unauthorized rescue mission.
Like you've never seen.
Let's see if you guys can see it better. There we go.
Told me how to do this. Believe me, I know better.
With over 2 hours of special features,
This is
Whoops.
probably my favorite prop from this season.
including all new interview footage of Patrick Stewart,
What we had together was so important.
deleted scenes,
I have an idea.
and so much more.
I don't want the game to end. Engage.
Star Trek
But
Picard.
you can see that
Own it on Blu-ray and DVD.
the screen is all lit up now, so there we go. And there you go, guys. There's the TV for you. So I'm going to turn it off. We're going to get the rest of the screws all put in, get this TV ready to be put in the living room for our enjoyment. Well, there you guys go. Guys, we do appreciate you watching the show, and so now you know how to replace LED strips. Now, older sets is going to have maybe multiples. It won't have a diffuser glass. It'll just have diffuser panels. But on this particular model, it just had one, well, actually 2 long strips that were separated and went across. And like I said, you know, you guys saw this was the old one. Literally, that's all it is, and they use a diffuser glass to spread the light across the panel. Relatively simple nowadays, but also, if you really needed to, you could replace each individual LED on the strip. Had I had some LEDs like this in stock, rather than ordering this strip, I would have went on ahead and just replaced them. It would have been a lot easier, guys. And I would have got my TV fixed the same day instead of having to wait a few weeks. But it's all ready to go now. We're going to take it, hook it up in my living room, sit back with a cup of coffee, and enjoy a movie. Bye, guys. See you on the next episode.